Welcome everybody to Project You, Project Me, the FTG guide to self-belief and self-coaching. Why not come along and listen to people like you, people like me, leaving legacies for your future? Okay, everybody, well, welcome to Project You, Project Me, and today we've got a great friend of mine in Andy Moss, who we've known each other for quite a long time now and served in the military, and we kind of went through the same career. And what we're trying to do in Project You, Project Me is to give different angles on all different kind of people who might have been in service, might not, been through transition, done well, maybe not. And it kind of gives us all different paths we can then choose to walk and some ideas of how we can do things a little bit better. So welcome, Andy.
Hello, John. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, and it's great to have you here, mate. And of course, people understand why you're here today because you're the one that initiated Project You, Project Me, and I can't thank you enough for that. It means a lot to me. So to begin with, Project You, Project Me, it's not about spending 5.5 hours on here. It's about, nice and quick, nice and tidy, giving people something that they can listen to for 15, 20 minutes on the way to work or perhaps on the way back from work or whilst, they're having a beer on the weekend or something like that. But Andy, tell me a little bit about yourself. So, when did you join? How long did you serve? What was your kind of career?
Yeah, John. First of all, thank you for everything you do for those that are leaving. It's an amazing thing that you do. So, and again, thank you for having me on here. Yeah, so I joined the army in 1995, and there'll be some making crow noises, and there'll be others going, "Well, that's a long time ago." And I was in the Royal Signals like yourself, and I had a full career. I sort of built my career around training. Really, I was sort of dipped from operational to training, and ended up eventually as the regimental sergeant major in Purbright at the Army Leadership School.
Hmm.
I left in very early in 2019, and I'm on job number 3 since my departure.
Ah, interesting. Interesting. So how did your transition actually go? Did you plan? Did you struggle? What was that like for you?
Like everybody, I had a little bit of anxiety as I was kind of heading that way, but I always knew that I didn't want a commission. And the only job I would have wanted on commission was one of the command sergeant major roles, and it wasn't available on my rotation. So I made that decision quite early, and I spent most of my regimental sergeant major uh, appointment looking after me. I was engaged in Project Me. I had a really understanding commanding officer, and I did something in my last year. I did something every single day, and I always implore people to do that. If you don't do something every single day, the person you're up against will be doing something every single day. So I did. I invested in myself. Um, I went down the academic route, John. I did a degree in service, and I then completed a master's degree shortly after I left. Because you know, people are some people go that way and some people go down the vocational route. I just thought it was a bit of a no-brainer for me. I went that way, and it put me in really good stead.
Yeah, well, everybody looks at that differently. So, we don't say to people, you shouldn't do education, you should just do this. Because, some things work for some work for others. For example, I don't like doing two, although I've got a degree and things like that. I didn't really enjoy it. I'm more of a repetition kind of guy. But it kind of moves us on to the next question, really. And you've said you had 3 jobs, but how did these qualifications map across, and have they had any influence on what you started to do, how you moved, and where you are now?
Yeah, 100%. So my first job was with Thames Water,
Yeah.
and I thought I wanted to work in operations. And I do see people, right? I'm a operations manager slash project manager slash this manager and that manager, but I decided I was going hard into operations, and I was an area operations manager at Thames Water, an organisation that's again male dominated. I thought it'd be quite a nice natural fit for me, and I soon realised that hard nosed businesses, it's a private firm, are much more interested in process and performance than they are in the people. And ultimately, I left after 7 months. Um, from there, I went to work for my friends at CDS Defence and Security, and I was back at Purbright at ASLS, managing a project before going on to form a leadership coaching and mentoring capability for the company. And then somehow I found myself in the NHS, almost running towards trouble at the sort of the tail end of the pandemic. And I've been with the NHS now as head of organisational development for University Hospital Southampton for about 10 months. You asked about the qualifications. Well, actually, a degree was a prerequisite for all three of those jobs. And my current job, a master's degree is a prerequisite, although we always do put in there or appropriate experience. So lots of service leavers, 5 years plus in sort of senior leadership roles. Absolutely, that is master's equivalent.
Yeah, education, education, education. We talk a lot about, fundamental number 3, which is aligning your experience with theory. What I'm trying to say to people there is you might have lots of experience, but how you're making your decisions and theory education is going to kind of prove that to many companies. So it's interesting to see that, all of the jobs you've gone into, that's had some part to play. And I think that will be something that will be very interesting to those that are listening.
John, can I just add to that? The reason I did it like that is because I was lucky enough through the CLM process to get level 5 diploma, level 6 diploma, level 7 certificate in leadership management, which proved my vocational ability to lead. So I didn't feel like I needed anything else there. I always wanted to go into leadership management, and therefore supplementing it with academic qualifications was a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, I mean, I did all the same things, and I think a lot of other people do. What we see now is a lot of people who go on all of them courses, but the period of time you've got now to make sure that they're fulfilled and you've got those qualifications in place to that level is really short.
Yeah, but people also think that they're just gizzards. And
They do,
I've got
yeah.
colleagues. Well, I've got colleagues now that spend 2 years getting level 5 diploma in leadership management.
Yeah.
So that's a really, really valuable qualification.
Yeah. And we look at qualifications, stuff that's happening in the military now, ILX, all that kind of stuff that's going on. We can't tell people enough to start doing these things. Will it do them? Well, always ends up exactly
Hopefully.
the same. Do everything at the end,
Yeah, well, hopefully.
But anyway, moving on from qualifications, because it is a valid point. Lots of people talk about that and email me every day about qualifications, all different kind of levels and what they should be doing. Coincidentally, we have got a new company that we've just signed a partnership with that are going to give all level 2 courses for free. So people will be able to get lots of first aid, mental health, all that kind of stuff via our website instantly, straight on them courses, which is great for service people, service leavers, ex-forces, blue light, and spouses. So educate yourself is a lesson here, really.
John, supplementary qualifications are something I always look for as well.
Absolutely, yeah. And they're
really
usually quick.
Yeah.
Now, as I said before, you've been really instrumental in the Project You, Project Me kind of podcast and moving that forward. We're giving lots of people some great ways of guiding themselves, of self-belief, of helping themselves. But why did you want to bring that to the floor, as opposed to FTG? Why did you want to put that on the map with us?
So I've done a lot of work around this, whether it be through the commanding officers coaching program. I put together a brochure for that. I've done it for my own internal coaching faculty at University Hospital Southampton, and I've been a long-standing friend of what you do. I really, really appreciate what you do, what your company does for service leavers, and the amount of energy and effort that you put into it. And if I can give, 1% of my time, then, and if 100 people do that, you've got 100% more output. So in terms of Project U, you were kind enough to ask me, or Project U, Project Me, we called it all sorts, don't we? You were kind enough to ask me to come and open up one of your events, and I really thought to myself, well, what can I do? And it was this thing around self-coaching. Now, if you can afford an exec coach or a senior level coach, then absolutely go for it. But if you can't or you don't see the value in it, then be your own coach. And I think that's a really valuable lesson, and that's what this project is all about.
Yeah, it's fantastic as well. I mean, I'm going through it, I'm using it. And writing things down and stuff like that, and I left 6-7 years ago. So it's not just for now, is it? It's not just for leaving. It can be used for all different kinds of things. And one of the conversations we have had is there's lots of different guides and different things in there that you can follow, I guess. And as we were talking before, you said we've got to have a look at this bigger me, bigger you kind of piece that's in there. And in the background, and I'm not joking about this, we did have, that's kind of part of the book, or the document that we're talking about here on show. So it's pretty mental that we've got that here. So in your words, let's not go through the whole book, but how's this going to help people, in, specifically bigger me or smaller you, or other parts of the book?
Well, there's something in it for everybody. Whether you're, you know, trying to self-coach yourself in a triathlon or you're trying to self-coach yourself into Civvy Street, there's something for everyone. And whether it be spheres of influence, which is 3 circles that you can write things in, or it's something like this, which is my favorite tool in there. It was introduced to me by a friend. Bigger me, smaller me, or bigger you, smaller you. It's just about identifying the behaviors and the mindset that bigger you has, and identifying the behaviors and the mindset that smaller you has. So you can see some examples there. Bigger you lets people finish their sentences, and smaller you talks over the top of people. I don't think we need to go into depth in that, but if we're talking about a service leaver, I would imagine, John, you would put something like bigger you's the hunter and smaller you's the sleepwalker.
Mm. It's really interesting because a lot of these skills are going to be used in Civvy Street as well, because one of the things I had a problem with was I used to work too fast. I didn't really have a conversation with anybody. It was just, this is what we're going to do, bang, gone. And people didn't really like that. So understanding that you can listen to people, you need to listen to people, and perhaps find out a little bit about them is probably going to help you move forward, massively.
Yeah.
And because we're keeping it short, and we're trying to do all of this in 15 minutes, I suppose we finish on your 3 golden moments, because you've got 4 years of great experience now. You've been through a long service. You've been through a transition. You've had 3 jobs in Civvy Street, which all have been really successful. In CDS, you mentioned before, we do some work, all because of you, with those, and cold stairs over there and stuff like that. What would be your 3 golden, I suppose, moments or golden pieces you could give to a service leaver that would probably put them in the right direction?
So this is all wrapped up in Project You, Project Me, all of it. Project You is all about being self-aware, understanding what you're capable of. If you're coming out as a junior NCO and decide that you want to be chief exec of a large corporation, your self-awareness is not at the right level. You need to work your way up there. It's about knowledge. It's about knowing what's going on. It's about understanding your aspirations. What do you really want to do? Do you really enjoy health and safety? Is that why you're doing NEBOSH? Do you really enjoy project management? And that's why you're doing a project management course. So understanding that. It's about finding your identity, who you are. It's about your own personal ethos. And that's a really powerful thing for me. Understanding who you are, really getting inside yourself and what you stand for, what your values are. One of the reasons I left Thames Water is because I didn't align with their ethos. My ethos was completely misaligned. I wrote about it. Understand what your potential is. Back to the CEO point, not everybody can be the chief exec of a large corporate organization. It's about dreams as well. You can be whatever you want to be within the realms of your own capability and potential. It's about thinking, what sort of quality of life do you want? Are you motivated by money and nothing else? Or are you motivated by clawing back some quality of life and family time that you weren't able to have during your valuable service? The second piece of advice is about doing something every single day. I'm not joking. That last year in the army, I did something every single day, whether it was titivating, crafting my CV, whether it was writing a job application, whether it was researching a company, whether it was looking on the Armed Forces Employees Gold list to see who might be a good employer, or going to Insight Days. Every single day, you must absolutely do something.
The hunter.
And the final nugget of advice for me, I suppose, is persistence. People fail because they lack persistence. You need to be tenacious. You need to be selfless. You need to network and just be persistent all the way through.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And the 3 strap lines are the things I talk about all the time: ownership, create your direction to allow you to make decisions, and especially that last one that you mentioned there, persistence, moving forward every day, doing something every day, the hunter mentality. If you just keep that in your head, a hunter mentality doesn't have to be 3 hours of work. It might be 5 minutes one day, and it might the next day be a full day of a course or whatever. But very, very quickly, with the hunter mentality, if you're doing things all of the time, it gets embedded in your head, and ultimately you will be a success.
Also something around being humble, being grateful, appreciating everything that you get given, but expecting nothing. And there's a lot of people that do want a handout, and because they've been in the army, the majority of us, John, you and I included, stole a living for 24 years. Whereas, that handout isn't going to come. You need to go and get it.
Yeah. Well, Andy, that kind of wraps this kind of 15 minutes up. But again, I can't thank you enough. And
You're welcome.
the document that you've provided us with, and we're starting to add to it because it's not a finished document. It will be have lots more quality added to it over time. Is available to download on our website, www.ftgjobfairs.com. But you need a password, so you've got to come through myself or the team. So you can go and try to download that, or you can send us an email and we'll send you the password because it's free at the end of the day. But Andy, once again, thank you. Your time, I understand, absolutely is precious. And I look forward to doing more work with you. We look forward to getting Project You, Project Me off and running and getting lots of people on here with all different kind of things that are going on. I'll now leave you to your weekend and, stay safe, my friend.
Yeah, John, thanks again for having me, and good luck everyone with the project.
Take care, mate. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that's Project You, Project Me. Thanks for listening in. But remember, we have a Project You, Project Me guide to self-coaching, to self-belief, and it can all be downloaded on our website. We also do the 5 fundamentals: CVs, professional writing. We do brand, we do CPD, making sure you're going in the right direction. We're also looking at your elevation, giving you 2 times the chance to set up your interviews before your first actual interview. And also we look at your financial plan, massively important for your future, for you and your family. So why not come along? Have a look. What you got to lose? It's all free. Stay safe.